All right, welcome to part 3. So in exercise 5, we're going to write each of the following expressions in simplest form by combining like terms. Okay, it says be careful with the subtraction problems. We're going to go through why in a second. But first we're looking at A. A is about as simple as it gets. First thing we're going to do is we're going to separate terms with our vertical lines. Always do that first. The second thing I'm noticing is that we have more than one type of term. We have a variable term, 10y, and 2y. We also have a non-variable term called a constant. We have two of those, a 5 and a 1, both positive. Now, the way that we're going to make sure that we can do these more complicated ones is by practicing these strategies I'm going to tell you right now. The first strategy is separating the terms. The second strategy is to annotate. And what I mean by that is, just like when you're reading a passage or a word problem and they tell you circle the question, underline the important information, things like that, we're going to annotate these expressions to make it easier for us to combine like terms. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to underline all of the terms that have the variable y in them. Once I do that, I'm going to rewrite those terms underneath. So I have 10y and I have a positive 2y. Okay. Now I'm going to double underline the constant terms. Okay. And that lets me know that these ones over here are the constant terms. So I'm going to put plus 5 because of positive 5. Whoops, not a y. Don't confuse ourselves. That is not a y. Positive 5 and then a positive 1. All I've done here is rewritten what we had up here. The reason why I can do that is because with addition, the order does not matter. You can switch everything up. So I have not changed anything about this except to make it look easier for myself. And the reason why I do that is because I need to combine the terms that are alike. Combining is add. So I need to add the terms that are like. These two are like because they both have a y in them. 10y's and 2y's gives me 12y's total. I have just combined those like terms. I now need to combine the terms that are alike, that are the constant terms. I have a positive 5 and a positive 1, give me a positive 6, and now I have just created a simplified expression in standard form. Remember, standard form is when the variables are in front and the constant terms are in the back. I have just simplified A by combining like terms, and this is as far as we can go because we don't know what y is. I'm going to let you try B on your own. Let's look at C. Okay, C is a little bit more challenging, okay, because we have parentheses there. So we cannot combine like terms until we get rid of these parentheses. You should notice if I have a number next to a parentheses, that tells me distributive property. So my first step for C is going to have to be to use the distributive property. I'm going to use it not only once, but also twice. So here we go. Good practice with this. Remember, I need to distribute to both things that are on the inside of parentheses. So I've got 6t because 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 15. Okay, that takes care of this portion. I've gotten rid of the parentheses. That was my objective. Now I'm looking at this portion. Again, distributive property. Make sure I do it to both terms that are on the inside. I'm going to make a little line here to separate so I understand this is a negative 4. Okay, I've got 2 times t, which is 2t. I'm going to put a plus in between because pluses separate terms. I don't want this 2t right next to that 15 without a plus in between. That would be very confusing. Now we have 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8. Okay. And I now have simplified something that looked pretty complicated. It now looks similar to what A started out as. So now I'm going to use the same strategies I used on A to this here. I'm going to separate terms with vertical lines. I'm going to underline, single underline the t terms, and I'm going to put them together. So I've got a 6t plus a 2t. I'm going to double underline the constant terms. So I have a plus 15 and a minus 8. Now I'm going to combine the terms that are alike. These are the two variable terms. They are alike. I can combine them. 6 and 2 makes 8. I've now simplified that to 8t. Now we have 15 and negative 8, or 15 minus 8, either way you want to think of it. I have a 7 and it's positive, so I have now simplified this to a standard form binomial, meaning bi meaning 2, right? So 1, 2, 2 terms, binomial, standard form because the variable's in front and the constant's in back. Okay? I will see you in part 4.